What it do, Packer Nation? I'm Camille Davis coming at you for the Pack a Day podcast after a disappointing, a frustrating at times. Packers lost to the Vikings. The Packers lost 31-29 to the Vikings at Lambeau Field. And it was a really strange game, y'all. Throughout the first half, I just kept on waiting for the Packers to settle in, just settle down on both sides of the ball. And it took a little bit longer for them to do that than I expected, which put the Packers in a big hole. But the Packers' comeback ultimately fell short after that. The Vikings reeled off 28 straight points. 28. It was a four possession game with 5 minutes and 28 seconds remaining in the second quarter. And then the Packers reeled off 22 straight points. They finished the game with a 23-3 scoring advantage. But again, too little, too late. It was 28-7 at half, 31-29 final. But it's one of those games where when you look at it, after the first four Minnesota touchdowns, which is wild to say, the Packers defense did settle down, kind of help get the Packers back into the game. If you look at all of the Vikings offensive possessions after their first four touchdowns, it looks like this: punt, end of half. Interception, shout out to Xavier McKinney. 4 picks in 4 games, the real bright spot in the secondary in this game. Then another punt, a fumble, a field goal, a punt, turnover on downs, and then the end of the game. So, like, the Packers defense was able to settle in, get some stops to allow the offense to try to make something happen with it. But the offense made too many mistakes as well. Like, again, the comeback was fun and they gave us something to be interested in after a stinker of a first half. Like Jadakiss said during the versus battle, it's nice, but it's not enough. Like, listen, Jordan Love walked into the game wearing a Brett Favre jersey, and he was definitely looking like number 4 today. Listen, 32 of 54, 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and an 83 passer rating. Now, the first interception, bad decision. He forced it into coverage, and then Watson gets hurt in the process. Second interception was unlucky. I couldn't tell initially who that pass was to, Musgrave or Dobbs, because it was high for Musgrave, and then Dobbs had a chance to catch it in stride, but then he tipped it. Griffin got it, another Vikings interception. The third one, he felt the pressure coming. He knew Wicks was down there one-on-one, and he just threw it up. That man said, 500, threw the ball up, and the Vikings came back up with it because Wicks didn't even know the ball was coming until it was too late, located late, easy Vikings pick. So 3 interceptions. Then the question around Jordan Love from this game was, should Jordan Love have played in the first place? He looked rusty. Can't deny that. He had quite a few throws that he just didn't have enough on it. A lot of low throws, making it difficult on the receivers to catch a few. And Jordan Love in his presser after the game said, quote, "I just wasn't playing well enough. Ball placement was all over the place today. It picked up later, but early on, I just missed a couple of throws and was a bit off. I made it hard on some of the receivers on some of those plays," end quote. I agree with him. And he's a good leader because he can't go up there and say, and then they drop like 5, 6, 7 passes of mine too that were, right there for him. He didn't do that. He can't do that. He shouldn't do that. And I'm glad he didn't. But again, the receivers missed some plays as well. And overall, I thought that Jordan Love needed the reps. If the Packers medical team cleared him and said, hey, you are healthy enough to go, then he was healthy enough to go. Although, as we saw, again, some of those throws were low. The placement was off. It did pick up as the game went on. And the reality of it is, Jordan Love didn't play preseason, right? He got injured at the end of his first game of the season. We knew going into it that he was probably going to take a little bit of time to warm up, right? No preseason, got hurt early, and it did. Like, they just need to keep on building. And I'm fine with that. Like, if you are somebody who is like, hey, they should have gave Love one more week, let Malik go out there and do his thing. I don't begrudge your point. I understand it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it. I truly do. And we can't talk about mistakes without talking about the missed field goals, y'all. 2 missed field goals from the Narv dog. Narvison missed 2. First one, right from 37, hit the upright, bounces off, and you're just like, can't believe it. Gets another go at it from 49, misses that one wide right. After the game, Matt LaFleur said, I have full confidence in Averson still. We'll see how Goody and the front office continues to feel about that. And another question I just had from the game was, where was the pass rush? Where was the pass rush for the Packers for a majority of the game? Love seeing that the Vikings were bringing the house on Jordan Love as they should. You know what I mean? He's coming off of an MCL. You don't know his mobility. You go after it. Packers defense coming into this game against the Vikings offensive line, which had been kind of porous, didn't create too much, only 2 sacks on the day for the Packers defense. And I know they were without Jair Alexander. They didn't have Valentine as well in this game. So the secondary was thin, which a lot of coverage issues for this team in this game as well. But you would have expected for that pass rush, for that defensive front to really make some noise. And they were a bit more quiet today than I expected. The Vikings offensive line held up a lot better than I expected. And the Packers defense has to be better up front. They just have to. I mean, a lot of areas of this team have to just be better going forward. So it's not just on the defense's head because, again, they did get stops in the second half. It's not just on the offense. Again, they got off to a slow start, and then they kind of started being able to generate points as the game went on. It's just one of those ones, y'all. Overall, I hope that, Christian Watson is okay. He got lit up on that first interception, did not return with an ankle injury. It was said after the game by Matt LaFleur that he talked to Christian Watson and he told him that he's going to be, he thinks it's just a sprain at this point. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it is just a sprain. And I saw Ryan Wood report after the game that Devontae Wyatt was seen in a walking boot on his right foot with crutches after the game. So that one doesn't sound as promising, but hopefully it's nothing too bad. As I mentioned again, Jordan Love walked into the game wearing a Brett Favre jersey. After the game, Ford had some words for 10 that I think it's good for Packer Nation to just kind of take in at the moment. Favre said, "Dear Jordan, just a reminder that one game, one play, or one pass doesn't define you. Way to show resilience today. You have a long career ahead. Just keep going forward." Number 4. And overall, I think that's the message for this team to take away from it. Did not start the game off the way they wanted to. You got Matt LaFleur getting unsportsmanlike penalties in a situation where he probably shouldn't have, but he did. You got the offense off to a slow start, making too many mistakes. You had a Kraft fumble, the Jordan Love interceptions. You had the defense giving up coverage plays and touchdowns early on. But they showed no quit. They kept fighting until that final whistle blew, and that's all you can ask for. It's a long season. It's still early. A lot of room for improvement for this team still. But you can see the flashes and you can see why there is so much potential for this particular Packers team as well. A lot more analysis on this game to get into. These are just my quick gut reactions right after the game. Make sure you stay tuned in to Pack-A-Day throughout the week. On the audio side for Monday, we'll be on there talking with Dan and Monty with further analysis with gut reactions from this particular game. And of course, Andy and the rest of the crew have you locked on the Pack-A-Day YouTube side as well. So make sure you stay tuned to the Pack-A-Day podcast at Pack-A-Day podcast, wherever you can subscribe on social and on all streaming platforms on YouTube. So make sure y'all keep it locked. And as always, go Pack Go.